tried everything, doing shootouts this year, the broken Zambonis, the latest.
That's John Holmes and Scooter. Yep, delay, drop snow all over the place. Yeah, it was good. We needed that. I thought we deserved the game. I mean, I thought 5-on-5 we were much better than they were tonight. I thought we managed the pucks well. We turned that into a three-quarter ice game on them. I think they only had 22 attempted shots after 2 periods, and we could have put the game away with the breakaway that even Horny had when it was 2-1. I thought we really could have done some damage there, and then we took a couple penalties, and I thought that changed all the momentum, got a little more even. And there's their power play, which is number 1. It's so dangerous. There's so much skill they can execute. So that was the one area that kept them in the game. I thought we were the better team 5-on-5.
You guys aren't mathematically eliminated, but to bounce back like you did after that Dallas game, I know some guys were hurting after that one.
Yeah, we talked about that
playoff.
this morning. We want to be realistic. Our moves have to absolutely align for us to somehow get in. But realistically, we've got a lot of pride in that room. This has been, as I've said before, this group has a backbone, a professionalism, a resolve, whatever, all those things. They've got it, and they're a pretty resilient group. So we talked about it this morning. We were talking in realistic terms. If it's not going to be us, then let's make sure that we've got a couple goals in mind. We put a couple of goals out there with 7 games to go. One of the goals was to, be over 500, in terms of the last 7 games. Put some hurt on some teams' playoffs hopes. We got a chance to do that with a couple teams. So, usually when you have a game like the Dallas game, I talk to the guys about, I've been doing this for 30 years, and you see teams sag, for a couple of games when reality sort of sets in a little bit, and you sag for a bit, and then after 3-4 games, you sort of wake up and you go, hey, I got to be a play right, and let's spoil a party for other people. And I think we just talked about it, to say this is part of the learning process for the young team is let's realize where we are, what we can do, and I thought we had a lot of detail in our game. We were patient, we were smart, we did a lot of things. We gave them the first goal, and then the 2 power plays they got. Other than that, we didn't give them a whole lot.
The Weber and Yossi and with the Fisher line were on ice for all 3 of your goals. So it's a 5-man unit, I guess.
Yeah, I say your best players are your best players tonight. Our best players were our best players, and not taking away for anybody else. All the guys contributed tonight. 1 through 4, there wasn't any weak links, and that's to me, a good way to win for us.
Why do you think the Cullen line, Cullen, Fisher, Hornquist is working well right now?
Just there were, I think, obviously all 3 of them are veteran players. All 3 of them, have been decent scorers. But I just think they're all pushing themselves. Like Patrick Hornquist, I think, has been fabulous. He was fabulous in Dallas. He's been really good. He was good in Chicago. I looked back at a few games, and actually not Chicago because he wasn't there. But the last couple of games he's been really good. And Fish has been good all year, and Cully has been pretty good, other than getting, he sort of dried up there through a bit. But the veteran guys, it's like clockwork. They, history tells me, Cully's going to be around, 35 to 40 points every year. He's going to get there, and Fish is going to be 40 to 45. He's there, and then Patrick's going to be around 20 goals every year. And he gets hot, and he's hot, and he's determined. He's going to the hard areas, hound the puck. He's skating really well. They're making things happen, and then we're getting support from Yossi and Weber coming up the backside there. They can be pretty dangerous because they're all pretty smart players.
I know you've been pushing Shea a lot this year for the Norris, but obviously not playing
absolutely.
against Ovechkin. This is one of those games where it seemed like he was really able to show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Breaking the 2-on-1 and scoring a goal.
Other than saying that you got to be blind not to notice it, that Shea has been probably the best defenseman in the National Hockey League. It absolutely astounds me when I listen to some of the stuff on TV and radio that he doesn't get any mention it just absolutely is absurd. So, you better watch him because he's the best in the league.
Joe Ward's second game back since he left almost 3 years ago. Can you talk about what he meant to the franchise?
Well, Joel is a typical, prototypical Nashville Predator, if you will. It took like the long road. It was very similar to Van Gelder, a 30 years old, playing his first NHL game. I mean, Ward took the unconventional way. He was a good junior. You know, nothing really happened for him in the pros, and he went to the Canadian University, back to the minors, and worked his way to our organization. And what I try to do with players is just have an open mind. Good players get to the NHL on their own time, not the time that we want them to. And Joel Ward just took a longer road, and he came to training camp, and you know, sort of when we got him, he was just supposed to be a depth guy, and then I started watching him really close. And he was the guy that was making the right plays all the time. He was the guy that was winning the battles, and he was the guy that was making, you know, driving that line all the time. So, you know, he wasn't a prospect, to be quite honest with you. He came in as a depth guy, hoping to get some games, and just kept our eyes open. And I think that's about scouting and realizing where a player is. He's a very intelligent player. I think he's having a terrific year for them. He's hard on the wall. You can play him on the power play, having kill last minute of a game if you're winning or losing. He can play both sides. He can even play center if you want. And he's just got a lot of detail and smarts in his game. He's turned himself into a really good pro. So, you know, he's a guy that you look back and you say, hey, we found him because we just kept our eyes open as a scout and realized it didn't matter if he was drafted or not. He was a good player, and every year we try to find one of those guys. And, you know, it's no different than our scouts found Richie Clune, and he's turned himself into you know, a good, useful role player for us. So, you know, that's what I think organizations realize. You see it, Detroit drafts well or spots guys well, and then they just let them develop, and they get there on their own time. And when they get there, they seem to be pretty good players.